Hi there, just going out painting, and as you can see, it's quite a slog up that hill to get to our location. We decided to walk up from Poltesco, which is the old turpentine works, up towards the cliffs so we could get round and have a good view either way. And I decided that was the view I wanted there, over towards, that's Bass Point, where the old lifeboat station is, Church Cove on the Lizard. It was a lovely evening, fairly windy and actually quite chilly. This was in May, middle of May. It was still very chilly. And there's a reasonable walk from the car park, which the dog loved. Really interesting spot, wasn't it?
Down there, yeah.
Beautiful. Right, in close there. Look at that, it's come to the right. There's a gannet flying by. One of the many visitors we had that evening. And as I was setting up the French easel, of course the dog just potters around, he's quite safe. And he's laying out a palette of ultramarine blue, there's a lemon yellow. Not much left in that one. It's a cadmium yellow which needs a replacement. The Ivory Black, there's a magenta. All laid out and ready to go. I think. Let's put that one up there. Get another white. Put that one there. I think we've got everything we need now. The only one I didn't put out was that. Just put a warm red, and I'm going to have to get motor in here because the sun is going down really fast. Use a Scarlet Lake tonight. There's a boat out there, look. It's in the ship. Just mapping out the scene at the moment. That's too far in. So I've condensed that. You see, I do make some mistakes and move things in. And there's just a reminder of the palette I'm using. I've got a couple of whites at the top there. As we move down, there's lemon yellow, cadmium yellow, raw sienna, magenta tonight. Cadmium orange, Scarlet Lake, there's a violet in the bottom left corner, ultramarine blue, there's a cobalt blue and an ivory black. And that's just on a piece of hardboard which has been primed and used quite a lot, as you can see. Coming off. Cock up straight away. What's done to my brush? Let's get another brush, a better one. Oh, I think this is going to be a disaster. Right, we'll try again. Try that sky again. As you can see, I was having a few issues with the colour mixing. Still chilly, isn't it? Still quite chilly down here. It was a cold evening, but I was using magenta for the first time for quite a while, so it's giving me a few problems. Very overpowering colour, but I do like it. So I'm to work quite hard into that canvas weave to scrub the colours into it. Struggling with these colours tonight. And you can see the terps running up down the canvas there. Using quite a diluted paint mixture at this point. I'm just going to take that in a bit. I don't want that right down in the corner. And you can hear me talking to myself as I'm painting. I often do that. That's quite dark. It wasn't just for the camera, it's just the way I paint, often talking to myself, talking my way through the painting as I go. That's quite nice. I quite like that. I quite like that. It's funny how it can look and then all of a sudden you put a few things on and it starts to look alright. You can see I'm using quite a stiff bristled brush there. It's quite a cheap old cheap brush, that one, but it just lay the paint on quite nicely, and it's good for scrubbing into this white canvas texture at this stage of the painting. I tend to use my older brushes when I've got to scrub quite hard and work hard to get the paint into the texture of the canvas. See, not a cloud in the sky except in the distance there. There's a few hints of clouds. Dog enjoying the view. You can hear the wind in the mic. Get this in so I know where it is. I'll change that colour. Just placing in where the light's catching the top of the headland, where the green grass was, before it disappears. That's what I tend to do. As I'm working on a painting, I tend to move around and just mark things in if the light's catching it in an interesting place, because obviously that's going to disappear and move. So if I find it quite interesting, I'll make sure I mark it in there, and then I move back onto the next piece of the painting. Let's get this smart in. Cuckoo! Right, lovely. Nice to hear. Cuckoo by the sea. I think there was a pair. We could see them on the rock. See, I'm still using turps at the moment because I'm just trying to stain this canvas. And again, I didn't use the ground colour this time. I decided to go with the white canvas. That's nice. I like that. I do like that. Yeah, sometimes I just really like the way the brush has put the paint on. Can't explain why, you just sometimes just think, oh yeah, that's really worked quite well. Obviously sometimes it doesn't work so well. That's the way it goes. Get that filled in, I think. So I'm just scrubbing in a few greens with a long-handled round brush. Yeah, I quite just like to scrub the paint in at this stage. And there's the little foundation where I'm standing there. It must have been an old fort or something, I'm not quite sure what it was. Made an ideal painting location though. With the same brush that I've just washed out with turps, I'm now just adding some lighter areas into the sea to try and replicate the similar colours that are in the sky on top of the water. And as usual, it didn't quite go as planned, so I got the palette knife out just to scrape it back a little bit. I often do that on the areas like the sea. And there I'm just marking a few buildings in the on Bass Point there. As before, I've mentioned in the other previous videos, you can see how nicely the canvas sits in the hooks on the French easel there. Very easy to paint behind those as well. You just unscrew the little dials, the little knobs underneath, and pull the hooks out, move them to the side, paint what you want underneath, and put them back in again. And then the tide has started to go out quite a lot there, and that's the view back towards Kennock Sands there. The sun's going down quite rapidly now. It's like a race against time now.
I can't quite get that colour.
One thing in my favour was there was no clouds in the sky as such to block the sun out, so the light was pretty constant. There I'm just marking a few of the clouds in the sky there above the horizon, just those very delicate subtle evening clouds that you get. And there's the moon, look. Still fiddling with the water. It's just a constant exercise of, you're constantly fiddling with different places in the canvas all the time, readjusting things. I never put one mark in and that's it. It's a good one. It tends to need to be messed around with quite a lot. And the cobalt blue. Let's add a bit of violet into it. Nice colour. That can go in the water down here where it's dark. Look. It'll give us that nice sort of nice deepness. That's nice, isn't it? You like that? Put that into there as well. And we'll bring add a little bit into there. So, the tide's changed. That's horrible. The sun's a bit of interesting, you see. I love the curlews. You can see the paint's a little bit thicker in the rocks there, just to help define the shapes a bit more. That's a good shot of it. You can see the brush marks. And just constantly mixing up lots of different colours to give an impression of the rocks. Some of the brush strokes I want to leave that nice rich colour that I've mixed on top. Others I want to mix and blend with what wet paint is underneath. It's all wet into wet a la prima technique. They're quite harsh, the colour of them. Let's put some on here. Make them a bit grey. Not quite sure what the dog was looking at there, but he was certainly interested in something. Maybe he was just admiring the view. What a view.
Different brush really. Let's take that up a little bit, like that.
There's the rigger. Very useful brush. Just adjusting those clouds now. Put some highlights on them.
That's better. That's quite nice. I like that. That's nice, isn't it? Magenta, I haven't used that for a while. Asking a bit more refining, I think, using that. There's a bit of pink in that rock here. Runs down here.
Now the paint's very wet, so I'm just gently stroking that into the on top of the water there. And that's just a hint of that pink that I was using in the rocks.
Right, we're as good as finished now, so we're just going to finish off the foreground with some of this sap green, a raw umber and some violet. We'll see how that goes. Oh, if I can get it, if I can get it out of the tube. My God. Oh, there it goes. Look at that. Bit too stiff, that one.
I think I've left that tube a bit too long before since I last used it. I was gambling, quick drying sap green. I'm still using quite a lot of terps in some of these areas there with the paint, and the problem with that is it will dull your colours a little bit. I think it needed a bit of after this it needed a bit of a touch up in the studio. And there was a dolphin, look.
Let's see if this will do.
So we're just putting a few foam highlights. A white with a little tint of blue in it there, or violet.
Right, filming? Take 3 million. Right, just had a good evening's painting session. Not too cold, although I'm getting a bit chilly now. And we're looking over towards Lizard Point over there. With Poltesco's just down there. I'm not quite sure what this headland's called, but oil on canvas, 12 by 10. That's all from me. Good night.
And that was that. Brilliant spot. Definitely return to that. And really enjoyed myself. I had my daughter filming as well. It was just great. And that's the finished painting. Just touched up slightly in the studio, mainly in the foreground where the greens are. And yeah, very enjoyable. So hope you liked it. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.